Pleasure to be here today. We just passed our 2-year anniversary. We incorporated just a little over 2 years ago, and we've been moving quickly. The well that you see on the left side of that graph, sorry, can you go back one? Yeah. The well that you see on the left side there, that's our first well that we drilled. And so we're moving quickly within the space. And that comes back to the oil and gas experience that the team has. We're kind of the new miners, if you will, in that we're applying oil and gas experience to the mining industry. When you get together as a company, you have to figure out what do you want to be when you grow up. And I could just make it simple and say E3, but we're different. We wanted to think about what did we want to be, and the vision sort of defined us. And at that point, we started looking around for where do we think the best place for us to be will exist, and we pursued that. And so we'll take this through to where we are today, but it's a very clear vision. It started out with a small team, and the team has grown as we've needed more skill sets. But we think because we are early and we're moving quickly, it's good early torque within this energy transition business. Reminds me of my garage door opener. This team, it's been built for purpose. The purpose being that the vision that we put forward on the previous page. We want to be a best-in-class lithium salt producer in an environmentally responsible way. And we think that's easily done within brines. And so, but that the terms within that start to define where we're going, and everybody on our team understands our vision and knows their near-term goals and our future ultimate goal of commerciality. Oh, Jesus. Can you go back? Oh, this is where I want to be. Sorry. Like the team, our board has been built for success and to meet our vision. So this board are all successful individuals in much the same way that our team from the oil and gas sector brings a lot of expertise and success. So I've worked with most of these board members in the past, and it brings the spectrum of skill sets that we need, as well as strong board governance. They all have strong executive experience on boards. I'd like to draw your attention to one of our advisors that we just brought on as a consultant, Wayne Monnery. He's a PhD chemical engineer. He's worked on DLE in the past with other North American producers, and he's helping us with how we're going to proceed with DLE. This is our share structure. We recently announced on Monday that we did a non-brokered financing and raised another $3 million. Thank you to Red Cloud for their support and their finder's agreement with us in supplying investors into that. That took our investment from or our share structure from 57 million shares to 69 million shares. And it's worthwhile noting that with the warrants outstanding, there's the potential to bring in another 8 million into the company. Our company started when the original founders and insiders started investing their own money into this company, and we went out and we acquired assets. That's how we started. We've continued to invest at every stage along the way, and we now hold 12.5% of the company, and we continue to grow. No secret, we're working in Western Saskatchewan within the Leduc sequence. The Leduc is called the Dupereau when you move across the border into Saskatchewan, but it's the same geology, the same rock. It's just a different name. Within the framework of where we're at, we have others playing like E3 and to the west, and Prairie Lithium to the south. We like Saskatchewan. We followed the geology, and we like to say Saskatchewan chose us. When we followed the geology, this was where we decided was going to be the capacity for us to make what we wanted to do with best in class. So we're happy with that. Many of our team members are from Saskatchewan, and in 2009 I was Saskatchewan Oilman of the Year. So we have lots of experience in Saskatchewan. It's a top-tier jurisdiction. We've have numerous meetings with the regulator and the ministry, and they are very supportive. On Tuesday this last week, they put out a press release with some royalty holiday incentives for the industry when they build out facilities. So they continue to find ways to support the industry in Saskatchewan. Because this area is active for oil and gas in a shallower horizon, it also has all the facilities, all the personnel, all the infrastructure we potentially need to make this move forward. We started from a regional perspective and moved to a prospect perspective. And as we moved through the system, we always had stringent criteria for what we were looking for. And we have a position today that I'll talk about here in a second, but we were very selective about where we wanted to be. The picture on the lower right is of a well that we are hoping to be able to negotiate to acquire for future work on our own. I call this defining the sweet spot. Where do you want to be? And when we look back at what our vision is, it started to narrow things down. When we talk to hard rock miners, they're all about the grade. And from our perspective, yeah, the grade's important. But we also need to have volume of brine and deliverability. And that focuses us into that lower part of the diagram, the porosity and the thickness, because that's what's going to give us that volume of brine that we can hold in the rock, and then how fast we can get it out. So on top of all of that, we want to think about depth, because depth is going to control some of our key costs in all of this. And I'm being moved forward quickly. So that's why we became very targeted. We recognized a large volume of opportunity, but we decided we wanted to be very targeted in our approach and go after what would make the most sense for us in the long run. There we go. Our project area is in the Kindersley area of Saskatchewan. It's right up against the border with Alberta. And I'm going to refer to, you can see some of the geology here of the Leduc. If we go back 420 million years ago, the Leduc was being formed, and this part of Canada was an ocean. And we had the Great Barrier Reef. It was a warm ocean. So these reefs grew up along as independent reefs out in the basin as well as the shoreline. So this is where we're located. We're in the right postal code. Thank you. This is the schematic cross-section I indicated on the previous slide to show why did we choose here. The colorful section in the middle is representative of the Leduc, and you can see the reefs growing in central Alberta. And then as you come up, you've got reefs growing along the shoreline that would have existed at the time, and they grew thick as well. So this all would have been laid down as limestones and eventually turned into either dolomites or interbedded limestones and dolomites. The structure today changed. This is how it changed through time after more sediments were put on top of the Leduc. And we now find ourselves in the Kindersley area. Top to our main target is 900 meters. The top to this same zone as you move into Alberta or southeast Saskatchewan, where it's also being pursued, it more than doubles to over 2 kilometers to more like 2,500 meters to get down to your zone of interest. So that helps control our costs. You want to go deeper, you need a bigger rig, you need longer time, it costs more money. And that's why we focused, one of the reasons we focused here. We also have no oil in the system and minimal H2S. Help? Oh, there we go. This is our land position today within the Kindersley project area. We have 295 sections of land. 261 of those sections are in this area. So in terms of totals, that's about 76,500 hectares or close to 200,000 acres that we have under control. But again, our land position is very targeted for what we want. So all land comes with annual rentals and work commitments, and we're trying to keep that to a manageable level. So when we did our inferred resource report, it had the yellow lands. We only had 215 sections at that time. Now we're at 261. That represents a 21% increase. You can see here where we drilled our first well. We've been in the field the last week or so doing a production test on that well, which will give us, like E3 was talking about, rates, as well as lithium concentrations, which we'll be providing to the market through time. And we're just north of Kindersley, Saskatchewan. It's the hub. It's the hub for supplying services to the oil and gas industry within the area, as well as the agricultural industry. We think of the sections as our building blocks. Typical section of land holds 216 million barrels of brine in here. And that translates into about 13,500 lithium carbonate equivalent tons within a section. And that's where we're growing out of. This is our well during the completion program that you can see on the right. And the curves that you see there, I won't bore you with, but it's showing, I call this proof of concept. We've got multiple wells here demonstrating that they can produce high volume of brine out of the zone. These are brines that are just there for, they're producing these brines for a water flood in the Viking Formation, a shallower oil formation. So we look at these wells and we know that it's possible to do much better for production out of these wells in terms of barrels per day. So we're expanding on that, and these wells have been tested by independent government associations and have noted high lithium concentrations, and we're looking to build on that. We're proud of our inferred resource report. It's going to grow. We're currently commissioning a new report based on the additional lands and the new information that we're acquiring. But we're proud of the rigor that we brought into this. And this comes back to the oil and gas experience. We did detailed petrophysical analysis on all of the logs that we had access to. And from that, we can predict more accurately what is the porosity and thickness of all the rock. It has to be corrected for the rock type. We then put all of that data into a correlated three-dimensional model, correlating all the wells. It's very consistent, but the individual layers do vary a little bit in thickness. So that then we can generate a very accurate viewpoint of what is our volume of brine within every single section, not just a generic section. That leads us to our volumetric assessment, and that 3D model we will eventually use for modeling fluid flow through the reservoir as we start to go to production. Everybody's talking about DLE. To be very quick about this, very early on we decided we're a resource company, we're not a technology company. The CFO and I have both been involved with technology, resource companies that own technology and patents, and we said, we think we can do this without being a technology company and causing some confusion on where we invest our money. We put all our money into developing and accumulating our resource. We will produce out of the Leduc-Duperow and inject into a slightly deeper formation. Enough has been said about ESG. We think we can, by others that are in the brine, we think we can have a very small footprint relative within this industry. And there's lots of other things that we're working on to keep our ESG very solid. We've heard enough about this, I'm going to skip. But what's really important to us is you're seeing this really massive change to bring the industry to North America. The industry has been dominated for a decade by Asia. And we're vulnerable. We're vulnerable. We need to shift the market back to North America, whether it's spodumene mining or lithium from brines. We need to bring it home. We're moving fast in all the lanes. Incorporated in late 2020, and we keep on moving forward in terms of our financings, keeping our balance sheet strong, achieving milestones for the company in the orange lane, and growing our asset base. When we first went to the private market with support from Red Cloud, we only had 35 sections of land. We raised some money, and we've been continuously growing since then, and we now sit at 295 sections. So we're moving forward. We're chasing others that have been in the game longer than us, like the E3s and the Lake Resources. But we're confident in our ability to get there, and we're moving quick. We have a business plan. The business plan is thorough. We know where we're going, where we're trying to get to. And this business plan will continuously provide updates to the market through time, because as we achieve results, but we have to be in the field achieving results so that we can supply updates. We're new. We're part of the energy transition market, and we think we're a good and easy entry point. And we've built a strong team, a team that's had success in the resource sector. And we look to duplicate that success for our investors. So I put the disclaimer at the end. I'll leave that up there so everybody can read it.